All right. So let's come into child's pose to start. Big toes together. Take your knees apart any amount. And today, if you wanted to play with having knees together and laying your belly on your thighs and then maybe reaching back, grabbing your heels, might feel a little intense starting out, but we are midday. So if that feels nice in your body, you can take that variation. Otherwise, knees wide is good too. Maybe just shift a little bit from side to side. Just paying attention to your body, noticing what's going on with it today, how things are feeling. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. Good, we're gonna do that a couple more times. So smooth, steady, deep inhale. Let the breath go, let all of the tension that you might be holding on to just melt out of your body. And you begin to find the rhythm of your Ujjayi breath here. So that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. You're creating this soft rush of air in the back of your throat. You could just imagine that you are on a beach chair and you're listening to that sound of the ocean waves as they roll in. Use that sound, use that imagery to help you quiet the mind, to help draw you inward. So as much as this breath gives us something to focus our attention on, as much as it helps to warm up the body, which is nice as we begin to move, it also becomes this very valuable tool. It's almost like a self-soothing tool. So we don't need to just use this breath on the mats. When things get stressful in life, sometimes we just need to pause, take a moment, breathe deeply, ground ourselves, check in, take a little mini break. Maybe feel your heels melting back a little more here. As that happens, you're lengthening through the sides of your waist. You're getting that space in your spine. And then from here, inhale, start to roll up to your tabletop. So if your hands are by your side, you'll reach them forward. And let's move into some cat-cow. Keep your eyes closed here. It's just nice. So when the eyes are open, we start to look around. We let the outside world come in more. It's harder to resist that urge. But with eyes closed, you can bring your gaze inward, kind of tune everything out. And you know this really well. So your fingers are spreading, you're pressing evenly, and then you're just moving with your breath. And every day when we come onto our yoga mats, we feel a little different. So even though we're doing a lot of the same poses, a lot of the same actions, our yoga practice is really fluid and dynamic. It's always a little different. And as we practice longer, we get better at identifying what it is we need on any given day. Good, a few more rounds like this. Really feeling that lift of your heart as you come into the arch, the cow stretch. And then conversely, rounding a lot, tucking chin to chest, lengthening the back of the neck as you come into that cat stretch. I feel in October it's pretty important to get really good at this cat stretch. Just imagining you're a black Halloween scaredy cat. All right, couple more rounds. Feeling deeply connected with your breath. Round in one more time. And then inhale, come back to your neutral spine. Good. As we inhale, we're gonna lift our right leg up. And a little different today. So you stay in this tabletop. You're gonna start to cross that leg behind your left foot. So deep inhale here. Keep your torso nice and even. As you exhale, tap down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap down. Good. Inhale, nice and slow. The slower you go, the more you're going to kind of feel this in that outer right hip, that left hamstring or right hamstring. Exhale, lower down. Good. Inhale, up. So just keeping that cross here, root into your right palm. Stretch your left arm out. And then start to bring it off to the side, and then we're gonna touch down a few times together. So deep inhale, exhale, you can bring that left hand off to an angle too. Inhale up, and I'm certainly having to utilize a lot of the muscles in my belly here to keep me stabilized in this. Couple more, exhale, lower down. Inhale up. Notice if you start to overarch in your lumbar, your lower back, exhale, lower down. Pull the belly button towards the ribs. Inhale. Bring everything back to center. Stretch out. Keep breathing. Make sure that you're not clenching your face, your jaw. Deep inhale. Exhale. Release down. Just clear the palate with a couple rounds of that cat-cow. Key into that rhythm of your breath again. Inhale, coming back to your neutral spine. So feeling the core engage. We know that we're going to need to utilize it to keep us steady and balanced here. Inhale, left leg lifts. So toes are pointing down, but then just cross that leg to the right. Good. Deep inhale here. Exhale, tap those toes down at an angle. Inhale up. So it just gets into an interesting part of the leg while forcing us to balance a little bit here. Exhale, lower down, couple more. Inhale up. Might feel that outer left hip burning. Good. Inhale up. So continue to root down into that left palm. That left leg is still at a diagonal. Good. And then start to bring your right arm out to a diagonal. You can kind of spin your fingers to face down. Deep inhale. Exhale, leg and hand touch. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. So just increasing the difficulty here to balance. Exhale, lower. Let's do one more. Inhale up. Exhale, lower down. And then as gracefully as possible, as you inhale, come on up. And then start to bring everything back to center. See how long you can get really lengthened in your lower back. Deep inhale. Exhale, release. Ooh, outer left hip. Hello. Few rounds of your cat-cow. Good. Inhale, come up to neutral. Walk your hands slightly forward. Spread fingers, press evenly. Shift shoulders slightly ahead of your wrist. Keep your belly lifted. So the only thing that changes is we bend our elbows an inch. 2, no more than shoulder heads in line with elbows. Inhale, press up. Couple of these. Exhale, lower. So gaze an inch or two in front of your fingertips. You're keeping your neck nice and long. Exhale. Inhale up. Good. Exhale, hover. Keep breathing, keep smiling. If you're feeling the burn in your shoulders, you're doing it right. I'm sorry, not sorry. Come onto your belly. Good. Let's interlace fingers at the small of our back. Come onto your forehead. Roll a little bit to the outer edges of the feet, just flowing here with the Shalabhasana. So inhale, rolling up. Exhale, lower. There's a slight tuck of the chin. So sometimes we want to throw our head, our neck back. Resist that urge. Keep it long instead, the back of the neck. Inhale up. Exhale, lower down. Change the cross of your fingers here, so it's going to feel a little funny. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Shalabhasana, serpent pose. Such a beautiful pose for strengthening the back. Inhaling up, one more. Exhale, lower. Inhale up here. Holding, shoulder heads lifting. And then maybe add your feet. As you go there, pay special attention to your lower back. This can get grippy for some of us. So if that is happening in your body, place your feet back down so you have that nice solid base and support. Breath smooth and steady. Always reminding ourselves to come back to that. We forget. Fortunately, we're always still breathing. It's pretty automatic. Release your feet down. Take your arms out wide so palms face towards each other. Again, you're probably feeling a little burn. Top of the shoulder, tricep. You're doing it right. Bend your elbows, bring your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. So just lengthening back in your low cobra bhujangasana here. And again, you don't have to throw the chin up. So it's kind of level to the floor, even to your shoulders. You can stay here or you slide your hands back, making your way into your upward facing dog. And we take a few breaths here. So as you come into this, if your shins or knees or thighs are still on the floor, just back on out. So that puts a lot of pressure on the lower back. If you are in this, your legs are really engaged, they're active. The inner thigh is spiraling up towards the ceiling and you're pressing your shoulder heads back. Couple more breaths. So keep your chin level, just bring your gaze up so your eyeballs start to look towards the ceiling. Playing with your drishti feels very uplifting. From here, you can roll over toes. If you are in your low cobra, you press to your tabletop and then pull back. Downward dog, we take a nice deep inhale here. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then just find a little movement. So anything that feels good, you can shift hips side to side, maybe even doing some little circles. So just playing around, exploring the movement. If you did any circles, just switch directions. And as you feel ready, you come back to neutral. So feet hips distance apart. You're just gazing between your toes. That second toe is pointing forward. And then spread the fingers a lot so you're really flattening the palm into your mat. Feel the upper arms engage. Good. Inhale, right leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through. Come on to your left knee. And if you have blocks here, you can use them. We're just going to do a little flow. So lunging forward, make sure that you have enough space. Inhale, come on back. Good. Exhale, rock forward. Get into that left quadricep. Inhale into the right hamstring. Super intense. You can keep a bend in that knee. Exhaling forward. Good. Inhale back. Exhale, forward hold here. Hands come up to that front thigh. If you feel unsteady, definitely a balance pose. Walk your right foot off to the right. Stretch your arms up. Good. And then hook your thumbs and just notice what thumb is on top. And then start to lean off to the right. And you should be feeling this nice, intense stretch through that left side of your waist. Let the shoulder blades release down. Keep pressing to the inner edge of your right foot. Good. As inhale, come up to center. And then as you exhale, release your hands down. Let's take a twist here. So root into your left palm, press to the inner edge of the right foot. Your hand could be on a block. Start to spin on open. If you wanted to get that back leg involved, curl the toes under, firm that thigh up towards the ceiling. The more you activate that leg, the more balanced you're going to feel here. And you have triangle pose, arms. It's like you have giant wings that are just spreading out, so take up lots of space. Breath smooth and steady. Try to fill up on that inhale. Good, one more, maybe gaze up. As you exhale, you unwind. Options here, you can simply step back to downward facing dog, or you can step back to your plank, shift forward. You could do full chaturanga this time, or come to your knees again. Hover here, or come all the way down. Inhale. Low cobra or upward dog. As you exhale, downward facing dog. These little chaturanga vinyasas are always optional, so they build more heat, but they're not necessary. Some days we just don't need them. So it is a great sign of wisdom if you skip them on those days that you don't need them, rather than forcing yourself to do them. So as we inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, lower onto your right knee. Make sure that you have enough space. We want this left knee over ankle. And slide that right knee back as much as you need to so you feel that stretch. Inhale, rock back to your half splits. You need not go very far. Exhaling forward. And then the blocks are just wonderful. They bring the floor closer. And for those of us who are a little tighter, it's a godsend. So it's a fine line between torturing ourselves and suffering, but then finding a nice stretch. So as we exhale, we come in here, upright yourself. So you're directing your tailbone down. Good. If you need to walk your left foot off to the left, do so. And then reach your arms up. So low crescent pose. Hook the thumbs. And then just rehook and see which way feels the most awkward if you can't remember which one was on top first. Good, and then send your tailbone to the earth as you start to lean off to the left. And it's this beautiful, intense stretch through that right side. It's kind of nice down in this hip torso attachment area. Notice if the shoulders start to creep up, soften the shoulder blades down. It feels, and as you spread your thumbs apart, feels like you're getting a little widening across the backs of your shoulders. Breath smooth and steady. Inhale up to center, and then we find that twist. So root down into your right palm, hand might be on a block. This left knee loves to wing out. Keep squeezing it into the midline. You're pressing to the inner edge of the foot. Start to spin your chest to the left. Shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. If you want to curl your right toes under, coming into this twisting crescent, you are welcome to do so. Don't be shy about that nice deep bend in the front knee. And then you can feel this outer left hip squeezing inward as well. Couple more breaths. Maybe you start to bring your gaze up to your left thumb. Good. One more deep inhale. Exhale, you unwind. So palms plant, options. Stepping to downward facing dog, maybe even a quick little child's pose. Or you take your chaturanga vinyasa if you'd like a little heat. Nice, Pamela. And nice, Kathleen. Good. So a few breaths in your downward dog. And then from your downward dog, just start to walk your feet forward to the top of your mat. You're going to take a nice little forward fold here. So any variation that feels good to you today, you could bring your hands to the backs of your legs. You might have a really deep bend in your knees. Grab elbows. If you wanted to slide your palms underneath your feet. Kind of wiggle your toes up onto the wrists and give them a little massage. Sometimes that feels really nice. Check in with the back of the neck. Make sure that it's not gripping, it's not holding on. It loves to do that. It loves to hold the brain and the skull up. So it's hard for it to move in the opposite direction, but it's good for it to do so. Right, so if you're holding onto the backs of your calves, or if you have your palms underneath your feet, just release where you're at. Hands come to shins or thighs. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. This is a standing cobra pose. So your lower belly is engaged, your shoulder heads are pressing back. I'm going to do that a few times. As you exhale, you fold in. Inhale, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Good, exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Really root down into your feet. Make sure the toes aren't gripping, but the arches are lifting. And then it's like you're breathing yourself up to your mountain pose, taking up lots of space as you get there. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Close your eyes. We're going to start to move into our half Surya Namaskaras. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, gracefully dive in. Inhale, lengthen forward. As you exhale, you fold. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Exhaling, hands come together at your heart. We have a couple more of these. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, you fold. Find that length in your spine. Inhale, chest extends forward. Good, exhale, fold in. And then inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out, take up space, let it feel good. Kathleen, you could always reach up to hands forward coming up if that feels better on your shoulders. So we have 3 more. I'm not going to cue you. You're just going to move with your breath. Really let these feel good, and maybe play with stretching the breath out a little bit and noticing the pause that happens at the top and the bottom of the breath. It is this fleeting, minuscule moment of complete silence. Can you infuse that into your cells, maybe into your mind, kind of soaking it up? And can you just let this feel like a prayer to your body? So you're enjoying the space you're creating, you're enjoying the gracefulness with which you're moving. It feels wonderful to just stretch out and move like this. We take it for granted. And there's absolutely no rush. You're just pausing with your palms together at your heart when you're done with that 3rd round. Gaze still inward. You're observing how you feel differently already. It doesn't take much. So it's a beautiful thing when we can do an hour-long yoga practice together, but even if we just have 10, 15 minutes a day, just do a few things, it does shift how we feel. That being said, we're going to add on here. So keep your eyes closed and play around with our full sun salute with the eyes closed. Kind of fun to do sometimes. So we're going to key into that idea of proprioception. Where am I in space? And it's much harder to key into that when your eyes are closed. So releasing your arms by your side, palms facing forward. Inhale, reach out. Palms press overhead. Feel that lift of your sternum. Exhale. Dive in, feel those inner thighs spiral back. You might be getting a little more openness in those hamstrings. Inhale, lengthen. So keep lengthening. Bend your knees, plant your palms, spread your fingers, right foot back. then left foot. Kind of take an extra inhale here. Make any adjustments if you think you need to, then shift forward on your toes as you exhale. Maybe come to knees. Lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing dog. As you exhale, you pass back into your downward facing dog. Again, eyes are closed here, neck is lengthening. Kind of try to feel out where you are on your mat. Make any little adjustments that you need to. And then go ahead and peek. See how your feet landed. Look forward between your arms. Good. Make any little adjustments and then releasing the neck again, closing your eyes. As you inhale, little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. Good. End of your exhale. Walk or step right foot forward, then left. Okay, so open your eyes here. So that's a little trickier. So if your feet are uneven at all, just notice what's going on and make those adjustments. Inhale, lengthen. Exhaling, folding in. Inhale, press down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So your choice, if you would like to do another round with your eyes closed, you can continue to play with that. Otherwise, you're welcome to open them up. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, gracefully fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, left foot back, then right. Take your version of your chaturanga vinyasa, being very distinct about each pose, even though we're flowing it together. Downward facing dog. Few breaths here. And though this is a challenging pose for sure, as we get better at it, we do start to find rest here. We can slow our breath down. We can breathe space into our body. Inhale, little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, walk feet forward or step left, then right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhaling, folding in. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left foot. Pull back to downward dog. Take a chaturanga vinyasa if you'd like. We all eventually meet in our downward facing dog. Good. As you inhale, right leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through between your hands, walk it off to the left. Spin into the back edge of your left foot. We are heel to arch, deep bend in this right knee. Windmill arms up and over. If you need to go a little wider with your stance, feel free to do so. So we're not trying to square the hips here. We are getting the nice hip opening in this front leg. It's like you're pressing that knee back behind you, but this left hip is releasing down as you seal into the back edge of that foot. You're looking out over those right fingertips. Keeping the breath smooth and steady. Feel the shoulder blades release down your back, but then engage the arms a little more. And you can assist that by spreading your fingers. So kind of imagining that your hands are duck feet and you've got that webbing between you. You're trying to take it as wide as you can. Spin your right palm to face up. Keep the legs exactly like this, nice and light. Reach your left fingertips down that back leg. Right arm comes up and over. Start to spin these left ribs up towards the ceiling. And actually today, rather than looking up, let's look out over that left shoulder and maybe even let your chin dip towards that shoulder. So you get a stretch on that right side of the neck. Inhaling up here. We're gonna come into our Parsvakonasana. So legs stay like this. I know you're feeling it. Start to hinge forward, triangle pose, upper body. Couple options. Elbow on knee is really good. You could grab a block, place it behind your foot, or you might have fingertips on the mat. So in this configuration, the back leg always gets a little light, so really seal into the back edge of the foot. Sometimes it feels good to sneak it in just an inch. And then start to spin that top palm to face forward. Reach your left arm up and over. So as you spiral the pinky side of that top hand down towards the mat, so internal rotation, can you also spin those right ribs up towards the ceiling? So it's externally rotating. Good. From here, we're going to unwind, come on to those left toes, just frame this front foot, and then let's lower down to that knee again. And let's just flow here with the breath. So exhaling forward, inhaling back. Good, and then as you inhale, rock forward. Bring both hands to the inside of that right foot. Back up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. And then turn those toes out. Let's start to, you might just be getting a great stretch here. You can slide the left knee back a little bit. If you would like to come down to forearms or forearms on blocks, that might feel nice. Keep pressing to the inner edge of this right foot for now, even though it's out at that angle. And if that doesn't feel good in your body, you can bring those toes to face forward. So lizard pose. If you would like, you can curl those back toes under, firm that thigh up. Think sternum shooting forward, tailbone reaching back. And then finally, if you'd like to roll to the outer edge of that right foot, you are welcome to do so. You are breathing here. Have I told you all about the pet lizard that I have? It's not really a lizard. It's a salamander, which I think is technically an amphibian. He lives in my window well downstairs. His name is Sammy. He makes me so happy. And he actually kind of looks like this. He moves really slow, one limb at a time. We have moments of staring at each other. I don't know how he got there. Tiger salamander. Apparently, they're not uncommon in Colorado. All right. Talked you through that, made you forget how intense that was. From here, you have options. You can simply step back to your downward dog. I recommend that. That was a nice, long little sequence. If you do want to burn a little energy, of course, you can take your Chaturanga Vinyasa. And as we pull back here, before we take our second side, take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. Good. As you inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, use your belly to help step that foot through. Walk it to the right, just a hair. So we want this nice alignment. Spin into the back edge of your right foot. Your left heel is intersecting that right arch. Oh, windmill arms, up and over. Don't be shy. Get nice and low here. So we want to feel that hip, that groin, turn on. Inner thigh is wrapping towards outer thigh. And then as all of that is happening, you're sealing into the back edge of that right foot. You're feeling this hip release down, but there's a little lift, stretch in that inner leg. Gaze soft and gentle out over your fingertips. And I don't know about you, but my heart is beating pretty good here. So use your breath to see if you can slow it down. These long holds are really challenging. We're going to spin our left palm to face up towards the ceiling. Nice and light. Keep your legs exactly the same. Reach those right fingertips down. And then just start to bring your gaze to that right shoulder and maybe even tuck your chin a little bit. So getting into the left side of the neck, the scalene muscles. Wrapping ribs up towards the ceiling. So right ribs wrap up, left ribs wrap up, pinky side of the hand spins down, all of these little opposite actions. Good, inhale up, Virabhadrasana 2, and you're feeling it, stick with it, you've got it. Hinge forward at that left hip, elbow to knee, or perhaps fingers to a block to the outside of the foot. Seal this left knee into that upper arm, and then that helps you to find a little more spin of the left ribs up towards the ceiling. Internal rotation here of that top arm. Reach it up and over, maybe bringing your gaze up. Put your brain in that back foot. Sneak it in a little bit if you need to. We're almost there. Deep inhale. And then exhale, unwind, lower onto your right knee. Hallelujah, a little sigh of relief. And we just find a little flow here. So we already did this. You might find that both quadricep and hamstring are opening up a little bit. And you might not be finding that. Some days it just doesn't happen. That's okay too. All right, so we're gonna rock forward here. Grab props if you need them. Hands come to the inside of that left foot. Just walk it out. If it felt good to turn your toes out, you can be there. So just a couple of breaths here like this. Not rolling to the outer edge of the left foot just yet. If you wanna come on down to forearms, just harnessing the energy of Sammy, the salamander. He's got a good life. I'm gonna be really sad when he goes and hibernates for the winter. I personally would like to hibernate for the next few months. Just skip all of the crap that's happening in the world. You can curl your back toes under. And then if you do want to roll to the outer edge of that left foot, this is where we start to look really lizardy. Poor Sammy is probably confused because I call him a lizard, but he's really an amphibian, and I think they're different. I'm gonna have to Google this. All right. Coming back up here. Frame that front foot. Options, downward facing dog, chaturanga vinyasa if you'd like. Wherever you're at, once you get to your downward facing dog, we're gonna find a child's pose. So big toes together, knees apart. So those slow flows are incredibly challenging. In some ways, it's much easier when we're kind of moving through everything, but there is joy, albeit a different kind of joy, when we can hold those poses and really start to feel all the nuances of them. Feel all the nuances of our muscles working and releasing in ways that they don't get to. Good, so start to find a twist here. So just walking your arms off to the right. Finding a little twist, so wrapping those left ribs towards that right thigh. Come back to center. And then walking off to the left, little twist, just going to the place where it feels good in your body, wrapping right ribs towards left thigh. You could even just rest your head on that right arm here. Observe how the breath has started to slow. Then walking back to center, Rock on up to your tabletop. Few rounds of your cat-cow. Inhaling, arching, observing how it has shifted, how it's feeling differently. So hopefully you've created a little more space and ease in your spine, even if it's really subtle. Perhaps you're feeling less distracted at this stage of the game than at the beginning. All right, so from here, inhale to neutral spine, walk hands forward, a couple of inches, spread fingers, press evenly, curl toes under, downward dog. As you inhale, little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes so you can walk forward, a step right or left, right then left, or you can lightly spring through. Inhale, lengthen. Good, exhale, fold. As you inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana, chair pose. Toes are light, you can have your feet about hips distance apart. Take your arms as wide as you need to. That's a great variation if there's anything going on in the neck or the shoulders, or it's hard to get the elbows straight. Sink a little lower. A little lower. Almost to that point where you feel like you're gonna plop, and then slowly, slowly, slowly belly is pulling in. We start to press legs to straight. Maybe press palms, gaze up. Exhale, hands come down the midline. All right, so let's come into Malasana. I'm gonna do a little movement with that. So squatting pose, kind of depends on how you're built. I have to go wider than hips distance and turn my toes out quite a bit. So you can play with your body. You start to melt the tailbone down as we stretch the sternum up. Good, and then you snuggle in, and then as you press palms together and then squeeze the legs into those upper arms, you get a little more widening across the heart and chest. You get that lift of your sternum. So there's a little back bend there. Okay, so keep rooting down into your feet here. Feel your belly pulling it up. And again, nice and slow. Inhale. Stretch up so you keep the legs wide. Exhale. Back into that squat. We're going to do a few of these. Inhale. The slower you go, the harder it is. Exhale. Coming in, make sure you're not gripping your toes. Maybe you're gripping your jaw. Smile through the torture. Exhaling in. Very nice. And then let's hold here. So again, find that widening across your heart and chest. And we're going to take this into a little twist. Root down into your right palm. Good. Start to spin to the left. So you could be extending up through your left fingertips if that doesn't feel good. You can kind of press to the inner edge of that left thigh and then just use that leverage to pop that left shoulder head back. So they're both really great variations. If you're feeling, we're pretty warm here today. If you're feeling really good, you can start to externally rotate your right hand, bend the elbow around that leg, and then you externally rotate the top hand, bend the elbow. Maybe you can clasp fingertips. So just getting a little deeper into the twist with a wrap. Good, one more deep inhale. If you're in the wrap, unwind, come back to center. Find that lift of your heart and chest. Left palm plants. So again, you could just kind of stay here like this in the twist, leveraging that right leg and arm against each other to help you press that shoulder head back. Maybe you extend that top arm up. If you feel like you're in pretty deep, externally rotate bottom arm, left arm, and then right arm spins behind you, palm spins behind you. Maybe you can clasp fingertips. So you get that leverage to press right shoulder head back as you wrap those left ribs to the right. You're breathing smooth and steady. Okay, unwind. Come back to center. Palms plant. Start to, straighten your legs. Heel toe your feet together. And then a couple options here. We're gonna take a nice little forward fold. So again, it might feel good to walk your hands underneath your feet. You could take your middle and index finger, hook them around your big toes. That's kind of nice. You can inhale there. And then as you exhale, you start to pull up on your toes, elbows come off to the side. If you wanna grab the backs of your legs, if you wanted to interlace fingers at the small of the back, get into the shoulders, which might feel nice after that twisting work that we just did in our squat pose. So whatever is calling to you here, just find a nice forward fold. Really let your neck release. Nice calf lane. Let your breath slow down. And then just notice the perspective shift that happens here too. So anytime we're forward folding, we're getting an inversion. We're releasing the head lower than the heart, kind of turning the world upside down. We need to do that sometimes. Okay, from here, inhale, press into your feet. Lead with your heart to roll on up. And then let's come to seated on our mats. And we're gonna take our legs out wide. So coming into Upavista. So if you're on a hard surface, I recommend turning on your mat so that your heels can be resting on something. It can feel a little uncomfortable. You can also be sitting up on a couple of blankets, which is really nice. So in this pose especially, a lot of us are really tight in the groins. So we kind of get pulled forward, we round in. It's hard to sit tall. So blankets just give you a little lift. And it's not cheating, I promise. You're still doing the pose. All right, so let's just turn this into a little flow here. So you're gonna reach your right hand to the inside of your left thigh. Left arm is gonna come up and over. And let's do this as an exhale. Inhale up. And then exhale to the other side. So it doesn't have to be very deep. Inhale. We're gonna come in for the hold. We're just warming this movement up. Do be mindful to press into the center of your heels. Keep those toes active. It's easy to forget. I've been doing this a lot of years and I always have to remind myself of that one. It might feel nice to close your eyes again here. And maybe you're starting to let go of that Ujjayi breath. So you're still inhaling and exhaling through your nose. You're kind of stretching it out though. You're slowing things down. We're moving towards our Shavasana. All right, so the next time, left arm is reaching up and over. Stay here. And then just imagine that somebody's gently pressing down on that left thigh, giving you a little anchoring. You have a sandbag pressing there. So as you anchor there, you can start to spin these right ribs up. So kind of like our extended side angle pose here in our upper body. And this is a great, these asymmetrical stretches are really good for sciatica, kind of get into the psoas area, which gets really tight for a lot of us. All right, inhale. And then exhale, you go to the other side. And I didn't mention this on the other side, but if it's too intense to have this top arm extending over, you can just hold onto your hip. You're getting all of the same work. I'm just kind of leaning that right shoulder head back. You're wrapping ribs up towards the ceiling. Toes pointing up towards the ceiling as well. Good, as you inhale, come on up, find both sit bones so it really feels like you're pressing evenly there. And then we're just gonna pulse this a little bit. If you are super tight in the groin area, this is an intense stretch for so many of us. Maybe have some blocks in front of you that you can rest your hands on. But we're just gonna pulse this a little bit, a little mini flow. So exhaling forward, inhaling back upright, and you might be moving the tiniest amount. This is how it starts. And even if you're moving a tiny amount, I'm sure that you are feeling that stretch in your body, and that's what we're going for. It's hard not to look at all of the beautiful poses on Instagram or be in a class and kind of see what everybody else is doing and be hard on ourselves or think that we're doing it wrong. So we really want to develop the ability to listen to what feels good, to know that things are changing, even though change can be so slow, so subtle. And you have the option here. So for some of us, it just feels better to pulse like this. You are welcome to do that. If you would like to come into a more static hold, you can also move in that direction. And again, you could be walking the blocks forward. You might be able to come down to forearms or pretty warm. That helps. If you are a little more flexible in this and you're pretty close to the floor, you could rest your head on a block. Hold on to that lengthening through the sides of your waist though. And then find those toes again, point them up towards the ceiling. Find your breath if you've lost it. Maybe at this stage of the game, you're inhaling to a count of 6 or 7, and then exhaling to that same number. We're going to do about 3 more breaths. So you might feel as though you can melt in a millimeter more. You might need to back out a little bit. Good. Next inhale. Come back up. So sitting tall, and then you're just going to take your hands underneath your knees. Ooh. And it might just feel good. Let's go ahead and extend the legs and then maybe just wiggle them out a little bit. And before we come into our Shavasana, we're going to do Paschimottanasana, so seated forward fold. And I'm going to actually give you a couple options. You can do classic here, lengthening forward. So again, find that stretch through the sides of your waist. You could have a block on the edge of your feet. Your hands might just be on your shins. You could have hands on blocks. If you would like to do this laying down, we're going to be going there eventually. You can extend the legs to straight and then press on your calves or your thighs. So both doing the same thing. Sometimes it's fun to just attack a pose from a different angle. Maybe you've closed your eyes again, so you're starting to draw inward. If you are in your seated Paschimottanasana, as you inhale, start to roll up, and then you're going to make your way to your back. We're all going to give our knees nice little squeeze into the chest, start to rock from side to side. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your knees into your chest. Take your arms out wide in a T shape, palms facing up. Exhale, drop knees off to the right. Roll onto that left cheek, that left ear, if it feels okay to do so. One final little twist to help bring the spine back to neutral before we find our Shavasana. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, they drop off to the left. Maybe rolling on to that right cheek, right ear. And trying as much as possible to let the shoulder blades release down into the mat. For some of us that are a little tighter, if that right shoulder blade is lifted up off the mat, you could slide a block under there or a blanket, or just back out of the twist a bit. Good, inhaling up. Squeeze knees in, take a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, sigh the breath out. Start to make your way to your Shavasana. Could be classic, legs extended. You might feel better bending the knees, taking feet wide, and then allowing knees to knock in towards each other. So choosing the variation that feels best to you today, and then really giving yourself permission to soak up these final moments. Just to exist in this quietness. To exist in this state of complete relaxation. Shavasana. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And then start to spread your fingers out and then make fists, do that. And then stretch your toes out, curl them in. Just starting to bring some movement back to your body. It can often feel really nice here to stretch the arms up overhead. And then staying soft and quiet, you're going to roll to one side or the other. Just find that fetal position. Take a moment there. So you transition out of your Shavasana. And then use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. Notice how good you feel here. So there's this quiet sense of joy, this sense of space in your body. You made that happen. Send yourself love and gratitude. Send your body love and gratitude for showing up, for working hard. And promise yourself that you're going to carry a little of this feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Great work today, ladies. Thank you. That was like the low, slow flow burn. I'm not sure if it was easy or not.